Welcome to Spiritual Dialogues with Father Udon de Castro. We are here at Cariana Lay Monastic Community. I'm your host, Brother Lodi, and with us is Sister Tachi. Sister?
So, Father, in the previous episode, we spoke of scandal.
Yeah.
And then maybe now you're going to speak of, well, that's already big enough, but there must be other sins that will occur that will also happen after this synod.
Yeah, the sin of scandal, as we have noticed, is the most prevalent sin
Yes.
that's being committed these days, in the sense that people are giving heresies left and right, and everybody is being destroyed by the heresies. And of course, immorality is being spread around, and people are encouraged to be immoral.
Yes.
And this is, of course, the sin of
The
scandal. And Christ precisely warned us that, scandals will really come to the world, especially from the movie industry, Hollywood. It's the really greatest source of scandal because it's teaching people how to sin. And Christ says, yes, scandal is going to come, but make sure it doesn't come from you,
That's right.
because the punishment for those guilty of scandal is very great. And since the sin of scandal is very prevalent, what we're afraid is that with the upcoming Bishop Synod on the Amazon, where the Instrumentum Laboris is filled with heresies, and if this is approved, the Vatican will impose it upon the Catholic Church, and therefore cause a lot of Catholics to commit sin, which is a greater
Bigger,
sin of
yes.
scandal.
Yes.
So the biggest sin that is committed by the Vatican, which has not yet been committed, but
Not yet.
they're going to commit it by October. But by this time, in the eyes of God, that's considered committed already.
Isn't it on paper already?
It's in paper.
Okay.
It's in the intention
Okay.
already. It's in the paper. So they have committed it already. They're guilty of that sin. And the greatest sin, to simplify it so people are not confused, is that the Instrumentum Laboris is saying that the pagan, primitive, and diabolical religion of the primitive Amazons is a source of Catholic truth. Now, the teaching of the Catholic Church is Catholic truths can only come from two sources: scriptures and tradition. Or another way of putting it, scriptures as interpreted by the fathers of the Church, which is tradition. Now, suddenly, they have given us another source of Catholic truth. And this is the Amazon primitive tribes. The Instrumentum Laboris, you can learn from them. You can learn from them that there are supernatural truths in that religion. That's impossible. These are people are not Catholics, they are not supernatural, they're not spiritual. How can you get spiritual doctrines from them?
That's why I'm going to ask you, Father, why the synod should be done in an Amazon country,
No, it's not
Not
there.
that.
It's not going to be held there.
in
In the
an-
Vatican.
In Vatican.
the Vatican.
Yeah.
But why
About-
do they call it Amazon?
Because they're going to discuss the situation in the Amazon basin. That is, those countries around the Amazon, Colombia, Brazil, and so on. Several countries.
But Father, to make it clear, you talk Colombians. They are Catholic countries, but they're only talking of the primitive tribes' religion.
Yeah. In other words, according to the news, these people, for the last 7 years, not a single has been converted to the Catholic
You
Church.
said even more than that before.
Did I?
Seven lang? Yes, Father. I heard.
7 years.
I
For
heard.
the last
I
7
heard
years.
50. And I'm wrong.
I don't know. I forgot.
Okay, never. But
the
whatever
news
it
said
is,
something like that.
But at
yeah.
least it is. That means they have not been converted at all.
In other words, we're supposed to be the ones who should try to Christianize them.
And not them to
And not them
to paganize us.
To paganize, that's right.
What a word! But it's never been used. I mean, they've never pushed the paganism going around converting people. That's the word's not convert. Paganizing people or making them go to the pagan religion has never been heard for till now.
Yeah, it's ridiculous in the sense that
I know.
a pagan religion will be imposed
Posed.
upon the Catholic Church.
Yes.
You know, you, Sister Tachi, had been giving talks in Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Yes.
You know the Aztecs.
Yes.
Those are the tribes around the Amazon.
Okay.
And we are supposed to imbibe the religious and the practices of those people. I mean, you cannot imagine the practices of the Aztec being imposed upon the Catholic Church. It's purely diabolical.
Yes, brother.
They might impose the human sacrifice.
Well, eventually they might just do that. you know.
That's it. That's part of their rights.
And the sad thing is, the Catholics in the Amazon, these are the cardinals there, the bishops.
That's from outside gone into the Amazon. Is that what you're saying?
Well,
They did not become bishops out of the Amazon tribe.
Well,
Why?
I suppose some of them are. We're not clear.
I see. That's
because
the one that's not so
These
clear.
are just pictures.
Okay,
you know.
okay.
But anyway, the picture shows cardinals, bishops, and priests and nuns. You know, these nuns really don't know what to do.
Wait,
They
these
just-
nuns are from there, from the area.
It looks like Amazon nuns, you know,
Okay.
or maybe South American nuns
Okay.
because they were dark, no?
Okay.
But they were nuns,
Okay.
and they were already attending some pagan rituals. They were attending.
They were supposed to convert them. Now they
Yeah,
have been.
yeah.
The word is not convert, Father, but they have been now influenced to join them.
In other words, they were not hearing or saying mass in the Amazon. They were attending a pagan
rite.
ritual.
Okay,
Yeah, right.
Okay.
In the Amazon, and that is the whole idea of this Vatican Synod of the Amazon, to impose that upon the Catholic Church the way it was done in that picture.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And
So that is the biggest heresy. It's a heresy.
clearly,
That suddenly Catholic truths, spiritual truths of which the Amazon are totally incapable of, shall come from the Amazons. It's no longer from scriptures and the fathers of the church or tradition, but it's going to come from the Amazon. What will come there are diabolical, pagan truths, but not spiritual truths. They're not even in the spiritual level.
they probably don't even, and they don't know Jesus Christ. They never tried to convert them, or they were never converted.
Or maybe they know
They
Christ
know,
by name.
and
just
then
by
where will they
name.
put him in what area of their religion? Nothing.
Yeah, but those Amazon rituals which we saw, which
Really?
they want to incorporate
Okay, you
in
saw
the
it. There,
liturgy.
it's been
Yeah,
pictured,
it's
huh?
in the video, yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be imposed in our liturgy.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, they've been doing it already,
Like example?
Amazon practice, yes. The popular, the Mass ng Bayan in the Filipino
Okay.
liturgy has Amazon elements already.
Oh,
And it's approved. And we're using it here in the Philippines. It's the favorite of the Archdiocese of Manila.
really? Okay. You mean are you about the dancing in the mass?
Well,
No,
everything sometimes,
everything?
even the vestments, the
vestments
practices and so on. In fact, they showed already one tabernacle where the Holy Eucharist is with an Amazon design.
Really?
And I couldn't even make up what it looks like
Right.
because there were bamboos and feathers and so on. I didn't know where the Holy Eucharist was.
On the altar?
Yeah. In other words, the Synod have not yet begun, and they're already practicing or putting into practice the ideas of the Amazon primitive tribes. Now, what is this whole thing happening right now? The Catholic Church, led by Pope Francis and the Bishop Synod, is turning into a huge superstitious belief. Superstition is a giant superstition, which is a sin. It is a sin, a serious sin against the virtue of religion.
Yes.
What is the virtue of religion? That's a virtue. It's equivalent to being holy. When you observe the virtue of religion, you become holy.
Yes, Father.
The virtue of religion is not among the theological virtue. It's not. The theological virtues are faith, hope, and charity. The virtue of religion falls under the moral virtue of temperance, justice, fortitude, and prudence. So the virtue of religion is under justice, meaning to say, giving people what is their due.
Yes.
So the virtue of religion is giving God what is his due, which is worship. When you give worship to somebody who is not God, which is proposed in the Amazon Synod, which is to give to God the worship, not to give it to God, but to give it to the spirit of nature, whatever that means, spirit of nature, like the spirit of the tree, the spirit of the lake, and so on. That's called superstition.
Yes. That's clear.
So, the virtue of religion is giving to God what is his due,
Yes.
but to give to the spirit of the Amazon what is due to God is not due to them.
No.
And that's what you call superstition. And that is a very serious sin.
Wrong belief in something.
It's not wrong belief, it's
serious,
more giving some things what is not their due.
That is not. They don't deserve it.
As the Instrumentum Labori says, giving the spirit of nature, the spirit of the trees, the spirit of the animals, the spirit of ecology, like that. What is due to God alone?
Yes.
In fact, St. Augustine calls it spiritual adultery. Very serious sin. But in theology, St. Thomas of Aquinas calls it superstition. And that is a sin against faith. It's a sin against the virtue of religion.
Some people might believe that since God is everywhere,
It's also in the tree.
You might be in the tree. Eh?
No, but this
Well, somehow that's correct. Yeah, that's correct.
this the word superstition has not been bandied around in a long time, Father. But it's like it was like when the Catholic Church came up. Sort of, that's one of the first ones that just we got rid of, I think. And now it's back. We never got rid of it.
The whole world
Is
never
there
got rid
in
of
this
it.
kind or that kind? But I mean, there's many facets,
always
many facets of
superstition,
superstition. So they can be in anything. But this is the worst because it's giving to something, nothing, what is due to God.
Yeah.
So that's the worst. Could be the worst, right?
Because Brother Lodi was saying, we really believe God is in the tree, and so on. Because God is everywhere. That's
Yes,
correct.
of course. Okay.
can you explain it further? That we don't have to adore these trees and flowers.
That's the
Yeah,
point.
okay.
You're right there, Brother Lodi. In other words, God is present there, but you don't have to worship God in a tree and so on. You have to worship God as God, not in the tree, So that is the biggest defect of the Instrumentum Laboris. It is going to foster superstition within the Catholic Church. And the sad thing is the Catholic Church have already a lot of superstition within her. Many of the Catholic beliefs are not really Catholic at all. They are superstition. And now if you add this, which sounds to be, in fact, parallel, this says, and God is there,
So
I mean,
it's more believable superstition.
yeah, it is believable superstition. So worship God in the tree and the lake.
Oh, they'll be convincing people easier. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Father, we have only 1 minute, please.
So that is one of the biggest heresy of the Instrumentum Laboris. Remember, this heresy is found in the document of the Vatican. Huh? It's not a document made by the Amazon. It's a document made by the Vatican, which is trying to foster superstition among the Catholics to believe and worship things which are not God, but which the Amazon people believe in, which is idolatry.
Okay. Thank you very much, Father. This is spiritual dialogues with Father Udon de Castro, as I said, reminds me of the parable of the lamp, not lamb. I'm sorry, my pronunciation is quite. So it's the parable of the lamp, because the lamp enlightens the dark part of a place. The spiritual dialogues enlighten the dark part of our soul. Please continue watching Spiritual Dialogues with Father Udon de Castro. Thank you.
Hosanna, Hosanna.